Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gridiron Glory here with Will and Tad, where we talk about all 32 teams. And today we have the privilege of being here and talking about two of Will's favorite teams, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Las Vegas Raiders, with the Chiefs coming out with the win in Las Vegas 27-20. A very close game between these AFC West rivals. Um, and we saw a game that was just it went both ways, and in the end, it was just the Chiefs doing what they do, finding a way to win, especially against their own division, and it was the Raiders just not closing strong enough. Patrick Mahomes in this football game, 27 and 38, 262 yards, two touchdowns, and one interception. So after this performance, Will, I'd have to ask, where do you rank Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback amongst the AFC?
Tad, he's definitely a top three quarterback in the AFC. You do got Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. If you're asking me currently in the regular season right now,
Yep,
right?
for sure.
And then, he might be like maybe a top 10 overall in the NFL.
Possibly, yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, that's my honest take.
Will, I gotta say, I was really pleased just to see the joy in your face and in your voice as you were describing the two-time defending Super Bowl champion quarterback Patrick Mahomes. But
Yeah.
looking more at the Chiefs offense, Kareem Hunt, he had a touchdown, 59 yards. Travis Kelce rounding back into form, 10 catches for 90 yards and a touchdown on National Tight End Day. So we're seeing a lot of big tight end performances. So that was solid to see. The new
I would
addition,
say Travis Kelce is definitely the best tight end in the NFL.
yeah, he's had a slow start to the season, but when he's cooking like he was against the Raiders, it's tough to beat.
Yeah, and where would you rank Travis Kelce amongst the Kelce brothers?
He's definitely top two. I think it's hard to argue that he's not top two amongst the two of them. He could potentially be one. I know it's always good to have a good center like Jason, but Travis Kelce, he's been one of the biggest offensive forces in football the last several years. So it's give and take. They both have a lot of positives, and now with Jason Kelce retired, that'll be a dynamic there. But yeah, so the Chiefs, they also are integrating DeAndre Hopkins into the offense. His first game, 2 catches for 29 yards, and the rookie Xavier Worthy had a touchdown catch as well. So that's what we get out of the Chiefs offense. Looking some at their defense, Nick Bolton had 9 tackles, so that was a big showing there. 3 tackles for loss for Drew Tranquil, along with a sack and a quarterback hit. So some solid showings there. Leo Chanel had a solid game, the linebacker out of Wisconsin. And where would you rank Leo Chanel as a linebacker? In the AFC West specifically.
He's a solid enough linebacker, Leo Chanel, Leo Chanel. He's a guy out of Wisconsin. That school that you and I both really love, right? 21 solo tackles, a sack, 2 forced fumbles. You might like to see maybe an interception or 2, but he's the middle of the pack AFC linebacker, above average.
I think that's fair. So then looking some at Las Vegas, the losers in the game, they fall to 2-6, and they're really struggling last place in the AFC West. And I know it pains Will to hear just how poorly the Raiders are doing. But
the best player on this team is Ameer Abdullah, no question about it.
Yeah, Ameer Abdullah, a big game, 1 carry for 2 yards, also a catch for 9 yards. So yeah, where would you rank Ameer Abdullah?
Ameer Abdullah is Ameer Abdullah to me is easily the best running back in the AFC West, no questions about it. my personal opinion.
Yeah, that's a very fair and unbiased take there by this Nebraska fan that we're seeing. So I think that's
No,
you gotta
but
love that.
no, but I mean, he's at this point in his career, Tad. He's a veteran, if nothing else.
Yeah.
He's kind of past his prime at this point. You kind of felt like his prime was more in like Detroit and Minnesota when he played
Yeah.
when he played with them, and didn't he also
Specifically
play with
with
the
the
Panthers? He's played with a few teams at this
he's
point.
been around, yeah. He was most notable in Detroit, I think.
Yeah, that was probably Amir Abdullah's prime was in Detroit.
Mhm.
So,
But
I
yeah,
mean, and
overall,
obviously his time at Nebraska was insane. So,
the Raiders running game, it was just not good this weekend. They had 21 attempts and they only gained 33 yards on the ground, 1.6 yards per run. So that was I mean, I think it's fair to say that their run game was straight up a disaster. I think that's fair to say. Minshew did what he could, passing 24 of 3209, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was sacked 5 times, so the Raiders' offensive line, you average 1.6 yards per carry and you give up 5 sacks. I mean, Raiders' offensive line, what are we doing? I mean, that this was not a good performance. I think that's fair to say, wouldn't you?
I mean, yeah, you allow the 5 sacks. Gardner Minshew, it's just like, time in and time out. He tries to make some big plays, which he was able to, but
Yeah,
more often than not, the offensive line just. But hey, this Chiefs defense has stepped up their game this year.
they have. They definitely have a solid showing from the
And
Chiefs defense.
I would honestly, personally, humbly say that the Chiefs have the best rushing defense in the NFL.
I mean, yeah, this past game is definitely evidence in favor of that take. I mean, like I said, just 1.6 yards per rush for the Raiders. That's just not going to get the job done. I mean, especially when the Raiders they're passing the ball decently. You get a touchdown to DJ Turner. You get a touchdown to Jacoby Myers. You get 5 catches and 58 yards out of Brock Bowers. So I mean, they're doing what they can. The passing game is doing what they can. The Raiders defense did what they could for a bit. Robert Spillane, he was hurt in the game, and he still finished with 12 tackles. So a solid showing there. 4 tackles for Caleb Von Chason. But yeah, I mean, just overall, their running game, I'd say that was the biggest story for the Raiders. Their lack of rush.
Yeah, Tad, real quick, where would you rank Max Crosby amongst defensive ends in the AFC?
When I see a player like Max Crosby, I mean, you just know he's going to do what he can to make life very difficult for whichever offensive lineman has the misfortune of trying to block him. I mean, he's an upper tier defensive lineman, that's for sure. The Chiefs, they actually did a respectable job against him, so credit to the offensive line there. They kept him away from the quarterback, but more often than not, you'll expect a better game than what you saw out of Mr. Crosby, who has 6.5 sacks on the year. So just he's good at what he does.
I don't really have any other final thoughts or take on these particular two teams, Tad, do you?
Yeah, looking next week we have the Chiefs hosting Monday Night Football against Tampa Bay, and that'll be an interesting game. We see two quarterbacks here in Mahomes and Mayfield that are it's going to be an interesting game. Two Big 12 quarterbacks going at it, and then the Raiders travel to Cincinnati to play the Bengals noontime on Sunday. So that'll be an interesting matchup there. Obviously, a game the Bengals need probably to keep in contention, and then we'll see what we get out of the Raiders. So, thank you for following our podcast here, The Gridiron Glory. Please like, follow, and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.